the dice stay hot. Let me shoot a 7 with every shot. Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas! I'm gonna give it everything I've got. Lady luck, please let the...
Welcome to Vegas Talk Radio, the internet radio show about the news, people, entertainment, opportunities, and events in the best resort and vacation destination and fastest growing city in America, Las Vegas, Nevada. If it's worth your time and money, you'll hear about it here. And now, here's your host, Charlie Bass.
Well, today's show we have a very special guest. We have a guy actually calling in from out of the country, and his name is Jay Lakin. Jay is the co-owner and vice president of PokerSource Online, which is not an online gambling site. And what we're going to talk about today is the status of what's going on with online gambling and all the different proposals in Congress. Jay, how are you doing today?
Charlie, I'm fine. Thank you very much for having me on.
Well, great. I appreciate you calling in today. Now, just briefly, tell me a little bit about PokerSource Online and what that's about and how you got involved with that.
All right. Well, PokerSource Online is the largest affiliate site on the planet, and basically what I mean by affiliate site is that we bring the online poker player to the online poker room. Let me give you an example. If John Smith were to go to partypoker.com and sign up, make a deposit, he would get whatever free deposit or bonus deposit Party Poker offers. But if he were to go to PokerSource Online first and sign up for Party Poker through us, not only would he get the deposit bonus that Party Poker offers, but we would also give him a free gift of a set of poker chips, a poker tabletop, $50 Amazon gift card, a membership to a Stocks Poker. I mean, we have about a dozen gifts. So basically, we've incentivized online gaming. We kind of consider ourselves like a real estate agent. We bring the buyer to the seller, and then we get a little kickback, if you want, or
Sure.
Affiliate payment.
Well, it's the marketing expense of sites, or any kind of business has to spend money on marketing, and you have a ton of people coming to your site because you give good information and you also give them directions where to go.
And we also give them a free gift.
And a free gift,
which
too.
Is the key.
Okay. Well, I got to ask you, it's, with all this hoopla that's going around about online gambling, it's legal, it's illegal, Congress keeps changing stuff. What's going on right now? I know that everything, and for our listeners, we're talking in December 2007. So what's the status now? I keep hearing these stories that it's going to be legal someday and not legal, and some things are going to be legal. What's going on?
All right, well, first let me bring your listeners up to date in terms of what happened back in September of 2006 in the waning moments of the 2006 Congress. Bill Frist wrote something called the Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act, the UIGEA, and at the last minute of the last Congress, he was able to attach it to the Safe Port Act. And, of course, when the Safe Port Act passed, the UIGEA passed with it. And the UIGEA basically prohibits the transfer of funds from a financial institution, i.e. a bank,
right,
to an internet gambling site. So, basically, when that law passed, everyone that wanted to fund their online gaming account via their credit card or their bank account or a wire or direct deposit or whatever, basically couldn't anymore. Interestingly enough, Charlie, the Congress carved out fantasy sports, online lotteries, and horse racing. So basically what they were saying to the American public is, it's okay if you want to put $100 on Seabiscuit in the Fifth and Aqueduct, but if you want to play 1 cent, 2 cent Texas Hold'em on your laptop, you can't do it.
My suspicion is it probably has something to do with political contributions from the racetrack owners. But
I'm thinking the same thing. I'm thinking that maybe somebody got paid off. It's just a thought. Don't know for sure, but I'm thinking that maybe somebody's pockets got lined.
So it's not all gambling. It's only gambling that they don't like.
Exactly. And again, it doesn't prohibit online gambling, Charlie. It only prohibits the funding of online gambling accounts. So you can still play poker, Texas Hold'em, Omaha, whatever, in the U.S. if the site accepts U.S. players, such as Absolute, Full Tilt, Poker Stars, Ultimate Bet, Doyle's Room. I mean, there are several that still do, as long as you can fund your account. And if you have the wherewithal to do that, either by having a friend in a foreign country do it for you, or using your bank account in Canada or Germany or Switzerland or whatever, you're good to go. But what about the invalid sitting in a wheelchair in North Dakota who doesn't have a brick-and-mortar casino 5 minutes away, who can't drive to a casino to play poker, who's sitting in his house all day and just wants to play poker on his laptop? He has no way of funding his account or doing that. And these are the people that were affected by this. There's a couple of things also that I'd like to share. Number one, the state of Massachusetts is trying to outlaw online gambling in that state, even though at the same time they're trying to increase the number of casinos. And in the state of Washington, one of the most liberal states in the country, they actually have made online gaming a Class C felony, which is the same thing that a child rapist would be charged with. So if you were to go to Washington State and play poker on your computer, you could be charged and jailed. And if you were to walk into a Borders or a Barnes & Noble in the state of Washington, you could purchase a Bluff magazine or a Card Player magazine, both of which have about 99.9% of their advertising internet poker room related.
So you're saying that hypocrisy is still alive and well in the United States?
Yes, it's alive and well. I'll give you one more thing that I'd like your listeners to chew on a bit. There is a gentleman named David Carruthers, who was the CEO of a publicly traded company in the UK, Bet On Sports. And he and his wife landed at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport back in July of 2006 to catch a plane back to the UK. And David Carruthers was arrested when he got off that plane in Dallas. And since that time, he's been sitting under house arrest in a hotel room in St. Louis awaiting trial. He's yet to even be given a trial date. So again, David Carruthers, CEO of a publicly traded company in the UK, lands in the U.S., is arrested for doing something that's illegal in the U.S., not in the UK. He's been sitting under house arrest for over a year and a half and still doesn't have a trial date. Now, ask yourself if a Bill Gates or a Warren Buffett or a Jack Welch or a Steve Jobs were to be doing something perfectly legal in this country, but land in another country where what they were doing was illegal and be arrested when he stepped off the plane, what would the reaction of the U.S. population be?
No, it would be outrage.
I think that we'd probably declare war on the country,
right,
and there'd be hourly updates on Fox News. And yet this guy is sitting in a St. Louis hotel room, and the majority of people don't even know about it.
Well, I mean, the sad part is, I mean, he's got to sit there and watch cable television all day, and he has nothing else to do in this hotel room.
He has nothing else to do.
And
can't even leave the room.
So what? I guess what's the UK? What's his government doing? Or they don't care either because they're being paid off by the U.S. government too. It sounds like.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, as far as I know, the ambassador to the U.S. has never said a word about it. I've never seen any reports. I mean, you've got these newspapers in England, most of them owned by Rupert Murdoch, that have these, splashy front page headlines, and yet you never hear anything about this guy.
Amazing.
There doesn't seem to be any kind of outrage on the part of the UK that a CEO of one of their publicly traded companies is sitting under house arrest in St. Louis. I just can't understand it, because I know that the response in America, if the same thing were to happen, would just be outrage, and we'd be saying, when are we launching the bomb?
Right. So
we'd probably have some kind of SWAT team going after them.
Now, I've heard stories that the Congress is looking at different potential proposals to legalize some gambling because there is such an outrage from U.S.